just about grunge and the Matrix, they were a battlefield for motorcycle manufacturers. While the world was spinning grunge records and watching the Matrix, engineers in Japan and Europe were locked in a full-blown performance war. Every year, bikes got lighter, faster, and sharper. Horsepower climbed. Quarter-mile times dropped. Aerodynamics got serious. The rulebook? Torn up. This wasn't just evolution. It was a full-blown revolution on two wheels. These are 15 bikes that prove themselves where it counts. Full throttle, on the edge, no room for mistakes. So stick around, because by the time we hit number 1, you'll see some say it went too far. Number 15, Kawasaki Ninja ZX-7R. In the 90s, Kawasaki didn't reinvent the superbike. They refined it. The ZX-7R took lessons from the racetrack and turned them into a street-legal weapon. Its 748 cubic centimeter inline-4 engine pumped out 112 to 123 horsepower, reaching a top speed of 158 to 163 miles per hour. Serious numbers for the class. At 516 pounds wet, it wasn't light, but it was planted. A twin-spar aluminum frame, fully adjustable suspension, and a race-focused riding position gave it razor-sharp handling. The power band was broad and linear, helped by a ram air system that screamed at high RPMs and gave real mid-range punch. In 1997, upgraded 6-piston brakes brought serious stopping power, and the sharp-edge fairing gave it unmistakable attitude. The limited edition, the ZX-7RR, added flat slide carbs and a close ratio gearbox for serious racers. Eventually outclassed by leader bikes, the ZX-7R still earned cult status, a green missile with a racer's heart and a street fighter's soul. It captured what Kawasaki does best, pure race DNA, barely tamed for the street. But if the ZX-7R was about refining the formula, Honda's next move? That was a whole different mindset. They didn't build it to be friendly. They didn't build it to win fans. They built it to win races, period. We're talking titanium connecting rods, gear-driven cams, and engineering pulled straight from the factory race team. No compromises, no cost-cutting, just a pure-blooded machine that Honda barely made street legal. Forget comfort, forget practicality. This wasn't a superbike you bought to impress your buddies. This was a machine you committed to. Number 14, Honda RVF 750 RC45. In the heart of the mid-1990s, when World Superbike wasn't just a competition, but a full-blown war zone of pride, speed, and supremacy, Honda released a machine forged with a single mission: domination. The 1994 Honda RVF 750 RC45 wasn't built for showroom lights. It was crafted for the podium. A true homologation special, this bike carried purebred racing DNA, straight from Honda's elite engineering playbook. At its core was a 749 cubic centimeter V4 engine, screaming to a searing 12,000 revolutions per minute and producing 119 horsepower. This was no ordinary power plant. It pulled tech straight from the legendary NR750. Titanium connecting rods, ceramic-lined cylinders, gear-driven cams, and fuel injection that felt like it came from the future. The RC45 soared past 160 miles per hour with the poise of a champion and handled with scalpel-like precision, thanks to Showa suspension, a single-sided swing arm, and race-spec brakes. On paper, it often stood in the shadow of Ducati's 916. But on the track, especially in the hands of John Kaczynski, it delivered Honda the 1997 World Superbike title and carved its name into racing history. Only a handful were released to the public. Today, the RC45 is a crown jewel for collectors, often commanding six-figure prices. It was never meant to be mainstream. It was a statement, a demonstration of Honda's relentless pursuit of perfection. But while the RC45 stayed elite, the next bike on our list brought race-bred chaos roaring into the hands of everyday riders. Number 13, Suzuki GSX-R 750S RAD. In 1996, Suzuki didn't just update the GSX-R 750, They rebuilt it from the ground up. The new SRAD, Suzuki Ram Air Direct, shaved off nearly 45 pounds from the previous model, packed in a race-inspired twin-spar aluminum frame, and brought Ram Air tech straight off the track. At the core was a high-revving 749 cubic centimeter inline-4, cranking out 120 horsepower at the rear wheel. Once you hit 9,000 RPM, the power kicked in hard, and the Ram Air system added up to 7 more horsepower when you were really moving. This thing wasn't just quick, it was downright feral. Top speed, 170 miles per hour, quarter mile, just under 11 seconds. This was a superbike built for the everyday rider. Raw, analog, and in-your-face aggressive. Handling is razor sharp, thanks to inverted Showa forks and a tight chassis. Up front, you had 320mm discs with 6-piston calipers, delivering strong braking, even if the early models were a little rough around the edges. Sure, it had its quirks. The carbureted versions stumbled a bit in the mid-range, and the tall gearing made stop-and-go traffic a pain. But out on the open road or during a track day, the SRAD came alive. Today, it's a modern classic. Loved by tuners, hunted by collectors, and remembered as the bike that put Suzuki back in the superbike game. The SRAD was Suzuki's high-strung wild child, a knee-dragging, apex-chasing rocket. But let's face it, not everyone wants a race replica that'll leave their back begging for mercy. Some riders want speed and comfort, and that's where the next bike flips the script, trading racing leathers for long-distance class. Meet the gentleman's missile, smooth, understated, and sneaky fast. Number 12, Suzuki RF900R. The Suzuki RF900R didn't wear race plastics, but don't be fooled. This sport touring sleeper was one of the fastest bikes of the 90s. With a top speed of 165 miles per hour and a 10.7-second quarter mile, it offered serious performance without wrecking your back. Its 937 cubic centimeter inline-4 made 135 horsepower and 70 pound-feet of torque, delivering strong mid-range pull and a satisfying top-end rush. A relaxed 5-speed gearbox made highway speeds effortless, while the budget sport suspension was stable, if not superbike sharp. It was agile once moving, though a bit heavy at low speeds. Unlike racier rivals like the Fireblade or ZX9R, the RF focused on real-world rideability. You got a comfy seat, decent wind protection, and a riding position you could actually live with, all wrapped in slick aerodynamic bodywork. It never aimed for podiums, but it set endurance records and ran effortlessly at triple-digit speeds. Today, it's a cult classic, fast, smooth, reliable, and overlooked. The RF900R proved you could hit 165 miles per hour without sacrificing comfort. It was the mature rider's missile, smooth, capable, and low drama. But what if you stripped out that civility and replaced it with chaos? That's what Suzuki did. They came up with a snarling V-twin with a controversial suspension and a reputation for being unhinged. If the RF900R was your sensible big brother, the next bike is your reckless cousin with a grudge against traction. Let's get wild. Number 11, Suzuki TL1000S, 1997. The Suzuki TL1000S didn't just roll onto the scene, it blew the doors off, packing a snarling 996 cubic centimeters, 90-degree V-twin, aggressive power delivery, and unpredictable handling. It quickly earned a reputation and a nickname, the Widowmaker. With 125 horsepower and 79 pound-feet of torque, it wasn't just loud, it was fast. Real-world top speed, around 165 miles per hour. Quarter mile, under 11 seconds. Fuel injection and Suzuki's SRAD system gave it serious cutting-edge performance for the late 90s. But the real story? Control, or lack of it. Instead of a traditional rear shock, Suzuki tried to reinvent the wheel. With a compact rotary damper to save space and cut weight. The result? Under hard riding, it got sketchy, real sketchy. Early models were known for violent tank slappers, enough to force Suzuki into adding a steering damper, in issuing a recall. Still, the TL1000S had soul. It was raw, mechanical, and bursting with character. It dove into corners like it had a point to prove, and maybe a few flaws to hide. It wasn't polished, but it left a lasting impression. Over time, riders came to respect it, not for being perfect, but for being fearless. Today, the TL1000S is a cult classic, remembered more for its audacity than its refinement. It wasn't just fast, it was feral. The TL1000S didn't want to cruise, it wanted to bite. But not everyone wanted a race replica riding position. If you were one of those who wanted speed and comfort, Yamaha had a wild card up its sleeve. Number 9. Yamaha YZF-1000R Thunderace. The Yamaha YZF-1000R Thunderace was a big-bore bruiser with a brain. It blended old-school horsepower with new-school tech. Fast, rock-solid, surprisingly refined. On paper, Yamaha claimed 186 miles per hour. In the real world, more like 162 to 163 miles per hour. Still nothing to sneeze at. Under the tank, a 1003cc inline-4, pushing out 158 horsepower, about 135 at the rear wheel, and 78 lb-ft of torque. Quarter mile, a scorching 10.2 seconds, thanks to Yamaha's EXUP valve system and throttle position sensor. Throttle response was buttery smooth. Torque came on strong, clean from 2,000 RPM, with a serious shove after 5,000. At just under 440 pounds dry, it had a solid power-to-weight ratio for the era. Despite its size, the Thunderace handled better than you'd expect. Using the YZF 750R's proven frame, fully adjustable suspension, and dual 298mm front discs for confident stopping power. It wasn't chasing race wins. It was built for real riders who wanted speed without sacrificing comfort or reliability. The Thunderace filled the gap between the FZR 1000 and the R1. Tough, fast, underrated, a forgotten heavyweight with a mean streak. But while Yamaha played it smooth, Kawasaki went in swinging. Number 8, 1996 to 1999, Kawasaki Ninja ZX-9R. In the late 90s, the superbike wars were heating up, and Kawasaki fired back with the Ninja ZX-9R, a high-speed machine that struck a perfect balance between raw power and real-world comfort. At its heart, an 899 cubic centimeter inline-4, pumping out up to 143 horsepower, fed by 40mm carbs and a ram air intake system. 0 to 60, just over 3 seconds. Quarter mile, around 10.6 seconds. Top speed, near 176 miles per hour, enough to hang with the big boys of the leader bike class. But this bike wasn't all fire and fury. The ZX-9R featured a twin-spar aluminum frame, a slick 6-speed transmission, and sport touring ergonomics that made it genuinely comfortable on long rides. At around 445 pounds dry, it was a bit heavy in tight corners, but rock solid at speed. Nicknamed the Gentleman's Express, it delivered big performance without beating you up. It didn't chase trophies, it won riders over, with its reliability, strong motor, and all-around usability. Today, the ZX-9R is a budget legend. Fast, smooth, built to last. But before this refined rocket came along, Kawasaki had already rewritten the speed limit. Next up, the original sledgehammer. Number 7. Kawasaki Tomcat ZX-10. The 1988 to 1990 Kawasaki Tomcat ZX-10 was a game changer. It wasn't just fast, it was the fastest production motorcycle of its time, clocking a verified top speed of 167 miles per hour. Its 997 cubic centimeter, liquid-cooled inline-4 cranked out a then staggering 135 horsepower and 75 pound-feet of torque, propelling it down the quarter mile in just 10.3 seconds. What made it special wasn't just speed, it was innovation. The ZX-10 introduced Kawasaki's first aluminum perimeter frame, boosting rigidity and high-speed handling. Though it lacked modern electronics, its aerodynamic bodywork and precise 6-speed transmission made it feel futuristic for 1988. On the road, it delivered smooth, aggressive power with a strong mid to high RPM pull. Adjustable suspension and solid brakes kept it stable, even at triple-digit speeds. Ergonomically, it walked the line between sport bike aggression and long-haul comfort. Replacing the GPZ 1000 RX, the ZX10 ignited the late 80s speed wars and held the title until the ZX11 took over. Though not a racing legend, its influence shaped Kawasaki's sport bike direction for decades. Today, the ZX10 is a sought-after collector's item, appreciated for its speed, rarity, and historical significance. It marked the turning point from the analog superbike era to the modern speed machines we know today. The ZX10 was all about brute force and futuristic design, but across the water, Yamaha was plotting something more. Precise, a superbike that combined brains with brawn. It didn't just go fast, it knew how to go fast. With high-tech tricks under the tank, it set the tone for the next decade of speed. Number 6, Yamaha FZR 1000 EXUP. The 1989 to 1995 Yamaha FZR 1000 EXUP wasn't just one of the fastest bikes of the 90s, it was one of the smartest. With a top speed of 170 miles per hour and 145 horsepower from its 1002 cubic centimeter inline 4, it delivered brutal performance wrapped in advanced tech. What truly set it apart was the EXUP valve. This servo-controlled exhaust valve gave the FZR a broad, smooth power band. Torque down low, screaming horsepower up top. No flat spots, just seamless acceleration through all 5 gears. Riders loved the way it handled. The Delta Box frame and adjustable suspension made it feel planted at speed while maintaining comfort for real-world use. It was stable, powerful, and surprisingly refined. Though it never raced in MotoGP, its EXUP tech came from Yamaha's racing division and directly influenced future models. Its 0 to 60 time of 3 seconds and quarter mile around 10.2 seconds proved its street dominance. Today, the FZR 1000 EXUP holds cult status. It helped define Yamaha's sport bike image, ushered in a new era of power management, and remains a collector's gem. It's remembered not only for speed, but for bringing true sophistication to the superbike world, just before horsepower wars met gentlemen's agreements and electronics took over. The FZR 1000 was a brainy brute, Yamaha's gentleman assassin. But what happens when a small Italian company gets its hands on that same power plant and says, let's make it lighter, sharper, and totally unhinged? The next machine didn't just ride differently, it felt different. Raw, rare, and absolutely ridiculous. Number 5, Bimota YB8 EXUP. The Bimota YB8 EXUP earns its place among the fastest motorcycles of the 1990s, thanks to its fusion of exotic Italian craftsmanship and proven Japanese performance. Powered by a 1002cc Yamaha FZR 1000 EXUP engine, it cranked out a claimed 147 horsepower, some versions pushing over 160 HP, with torque delivered smoothly across the rev range by Yamaha's innovative EXUP valve system. Weighing just 396 pounds, the YB8 was significantly lighter than its donor bike, resulting in a blistering power-to-weight ratio. Its top speed of around 170 miles per hour and responsive throttle made it a rocket on the roads. A twin-spar alloy frame, Marzocchi suspension, and Brembo brakes delivered superb handling, high-speed stability, and confident stopping power. Despite its aggressive riding posture and thin seat, the YB8 was a thrill to ride, refined yet raw, fast yet composed. While not a race bike, its performance and engineering pushed superbike boundaries, especially before the gentleman's agreement on speed caps arrived. With only 114 units ever built, the YB8 is now a prized collector's gem. It symbolizes Bimota's core philosophy, blending lightweight Italian chassis tech with the bulletproof power of a Japanese engine, creating an unforgettable icon of 90s performance motorcycling. The YB8 EXUP was proof that when you marry Japanese muscle with Italian finesse, magic happens. But what if Bimota took that formula and turned the refinement dial all the way up? Up next is the evolution of that very concept, A bike that didn't just build on the YB6's power, it smoothed it out, sharpened the edges, and introduced tech that was years ahead of its time. It's sleeker, smarter, and just a hair faster. But most importantly, it showed the world that exotic speed could also be civilized. Stay tuned, because the Furano is where RT and aggression collide. Number 4. Bimota YB8 Furano. The Bimota YB8 Furano was a superbike marvel of the early 90s, blending Yamaha's proven FZR 1000 EXUP engine with Italian design, cutting-edge electronics, and a lightweight chassis. Producing 164 horsepower and weighing just 396 pounds, it achieved a staggering top speed of 172 miles per hour, outpacing even the legendary ZX11. What set it apart wasn't just raw speed, it was the refinement. The YB8 used Yamaha's EXUP valve and ditched carbs for electronic fuel injection, offering a smoother, broader torque curve and linear power delivery. With Brembo brakes, fully adjustable Marzocchi suspension, and carbon fiber components for aerodynamics and weight savings, the YB8 delivered razor-sharp handling and rock-solid stability. Its aggressive ergonomics and exclusivity, just 252 made it a favorite among hardcore enthusiasts and collectors. It wasn't a race bike, but it carried Bimota's engineering DNA and race-derived chassis expertise. Though exotic and occasionally finicky, the YB8 remains a cult icon. Its combination of Italian flair and Japanese reliability created one of the most advanced superbikes of its time. For those lucky enough to ride or own one today, the Furano is more than fast. It's a rolling piece of high-performance history. The Furano was exotic, exclusive, and brilliantly engineered. But let's be honest, most riders in the 90s weren't laying down cash for hand-built Italian rarities. But coming up next is the bike that everyone knew. The machine that didn't just chase records, it set them. It wasn't built to impress collectors, it was built to dominate highways. And for 6 years straight, no production motorcycle on Earth could touch it. The legend, the ZX11, and it changed everything. Number 3, 1990 to 2001. Kawasaki Ninja ZX11Z ZR 1100. 1990. It didn't just raise eyebrows. It shattered speed records. With a top speed of 176 to 177 miles per hour, it ruled as the world's fastest production motorcycle until 1996. Its 1,052 cubic centimeter inline-4 engine produced 147 horsepower and 81 pound-feet of torque, pushing the bike from 0 to 60 miles per hour in just 2.7 seconds and through the quarter mile in about 10.2 seconds. What made it truly revolutionary was its ram air intake system, the first ever on a production bike, delivering more power at high speeds. Paired with aerodynamic fairings and a smooth 6-speed transmission, the ZX11 was built for effortless high-speed cruising. Despite its weight, the ZX11 handled well and offered surprising comfort, making it an excellent sport touring hybrid. It struck a balance between brutal speed and real-world usability, earning praise for both performance and reliability. Its 6-year reign at the top helped to spark the infamous 90s speed wars, influencing industry-wide speed caps. Today, the ZX11 is a cult classic, valued for its legacy, innovation, and the raw thrill it delivered at full throttle. A true milestone in the evolution of the hyperbike. The ZX11 ruled the streets for most of the decade, fast, powerful, and nearly unbeatable. But just when Kawasaki thought they had locked the crown, Honda showed up with a scalpel-sharp answer. A bike so fast, so refined, and so unstoppable. It didn't just dethrone the ZX11, it ended the war. You don't want to miss this. Number 2, Honda CBR 1100XX Super Blackbird. The Honda CBR 1100XX Super Blackbird was created for one purpose: to be the fastest production motorcycle in the world. And from 1996 until the Hayabusa showed up in 1999, it was just that. With a top speed of around 178 miles per hour, it dethroned the Kawasaki ZX11 and kicked off the final chapter of the 90s speed wars. Its 1,137 cubic centimeter liquid-cooled inline-4 made 152 horsepower and 83 pound-feet of torque, launching it from 0 to 60 in about 2.7 seconds, and through the quarter mile in just over 10 seconds. But the Super Blackbird wasn't just about speed, it was smooth, refined, and deceptively easy to ride fast. A Ram Air intake, Honda's PGM-FI fuel injection, and aerodynamic bodywork gave it advanced tech for its time. Fully adjustable suspension, solid high-speed stability, and a relatively comfortable riding position made it a true sport tourer. Reliable, fast, and built with typical Honda precision, the CBR 1100XX became a cult classic. Today, it's still loved by riders who appreciate old-school engineering and real-world performance. Whether as a collector's item or a weekend rocket, the Super Blackbird remains a defining icon of 1990s speed and style. The Super Blackbird was Honda's final word in the speed wars: smooth, deadly fast, and almost impossibly refined. For a while, it seemed unbeatable. But then, in 1999, Suzuki didn't just step onto the battlefield, they dropped a nuclear warhead. What came next wasn't just a faster bike, it was a faster everything. A machine so outrageous, so unrelenting in its mission. It didn't just dethrone the Blackbird, it shut down the entire arms race. Coming in at number 1, we have the motorcycle that rewrote the rules, shattered the limits, and scared the industry into a speed ceasefire. This is the Hayabusa. In 1999, the Suzuki Hayabusa didn't just break records, it shattered them. This beast redefined speed, becoming the fastest production motorcycle ever built at the time, with real-world top speeds clocking in at up to 194 miles per hour. It was the bike that ended the 90s speed wars and forced manufacturers into the so-called gentleman's agreement to limit top speeds. Under its aerodynamic fairings lived a 1,299 cubic centimeter liquid-cooled inline-4, making 173 horsepower and 102 pound-feet of torque. It launched from 0 to 60 miles per hour in about 2.7 seconds and ran the quarter mile in as little as 9.9 seconds. With a curb weight of 547 pounds, the Hayabusa delivered eye-watering acceleration, especially thanks to its smooth, broad torque curve. What set it apart, besides sheer speed, was its refinement. It wasn't just a rocket, it was a bullet train. Fully adjustable suspension, excellent high-speed stability, and a surprisingly comfortable sport touring riding position made it a versatile machine. And with average fuel economy of 30 to 35 miles per gallon, it could go fast and far. The Hayabusa became an icon overnight, loved by racers, celebrities, and adrenaline junkies. It dominated headlines, pop culture, and garages. Today, the original Busa is a revered classic, prized for its historical significance and PER performance, with prices ranging from $5,000 to over $12,000 on the used market. The first-generation Hayabusa remains the ultimate 90s speed king and the motorcycle that changed the game forever. Don't stop here. Click the next video and keep the ride rolling. If you liked what you saw, smash that like, hit subscribe, and join the crew. We're just getting warmed up.